IPv6 to the latest and greatest. Being part of a consulting business, that was one great advantage to get know greatest and latest technologies as well as the older technologies and work with those to deliver value to the customers. Before I start off, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Assistant Professor Karthik, our Assistant Professor Rajlashmi, and Jainab Zarina, as well as Vegi Fernando, HOD, Computer Science and Engineering Department of SCAD Engineering College. Thanks for this opportunity to speak with you all. Would take this as an immense pleasure to share what I've learned over these years and what I have uh, got from my mentors and leaders to share with you all. Thanks for that opportunity. So let's get started without waiting. Okay, before I start off, I would like to check out with you all that please feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions which you would like to ask. The topic which we are going to cover today is process of innovation development. Rather, which I would prefer to be named as how to innovate, right? I mean, how and why you should innovate, right? Rather, right? So to start off, agenda would be we will discuss what is innovation, what are the kinds of innovations which are broadly classified by the industry, what are the key factors which you find which you would like to actually focus on while innovating on different solutions, what are the common failure reasons which you find why not every startup or not every innovative idea is successful, right? We will look into what are the failure reasons for that, right? Also, idea of fail early or fail often, kind of an idea which I would like to share with you all, as well as how to validate those ideas which you have in your mind, and some examples and what are the reference points. And we will open up the discussion. I would like to actually open up this in discussion much more in the Q&A session. Probably you need not wait for that. You can just ask me anything which you want to actually hear out more in the course of this discussion. So to jumpstart, what is innovation, right? So innovation is, if you read through it, it is a very lengthy definition which is there. Like it's a product or an adoption of the new ideas or new methodologies to improve the existing process. So essentially, I would say that innovation is a process by which a domain, a product, or a service, right? There are the domain could be like AIML, right? Artificial intelligence, or a product in the sense one which you all know, your mobile phones, right? That's a product which have innovation on a yearly basis or on a monthly basis rather, or a service is anything which actually depends on different ways in which the current processes are run, right? So which is these are renewed and brought up to date by applying new processes, introducing new technologies, or establishing a successful idea to create new value, right? That is what is innovation. I believe innovation is inculcated into each one of us. Every day you are innovating, but not necessarily quoted as innovation by many of the leaders. But every day you are innovating in some or the other way with the limitations which you have. You are innovating. Today we are having these virtual sessions because of an innovation like Zoom or a video call or and technology which was introduced because to overcome the limitations of being in quarantine or being away and how to connect with people, right? So these are all innovations. Every day it's happening all around you. It's just that we are not giving enough credit to it, right? So let me go down and let's talk about what the types of innovation, what the types of innovation which the industry has recognized, right? So industry recognizes something like product innovation. Product innovation is to develop products which solves a problem which you have in hand, right? For example, mobile phones. which is innovation of its sorts, right? Every year, each of the product companies comes along with their flagship model, actually solving one or the other problems, right? Not necessarily flagships. Take an example of Samsung, right? Samsung as a product has shown innovation in multiple lines. Let it be not only the flagship Galaxy mobiles, but the A1s or A10s or S10s which are available, which is just costs us 10,000 rupees or so, right? It has around 6,000 mAh battery. If you take 5 years back, the same battery won't be available in any of the mobile phones, right? So the innovation is happening on a daily basis on a product, right? And it doesn't depends upon, as I was saying, innovation is not limited by the number. I mean, the amount you are spending on it, right? It can be as simple as a small product, as in a 1,000 rupees product, to even a 1 lakh rupee product, right? So innovation happens in different lines and different areas, basically on products, right? Service innovations, right? Service innovation is nothing but it redefines how services are delivered. For example, how many of you have actually heard about Fresh Team? Uh, I believe most probably you might have heard about it. Fresh Team as a service. It's actually a company which actually provides a product as a solution as a service, a SaaS product, right? So essentially, it is nothing but a HR management application. Many of us actually work on similar products during our engineering degrees or sample projects or mini projects, right? These guys have taken that to such a big level that now, today, in last month, it was all over the news that Fresh Team has gone for listing in Nasdaq for over $12 billion. A small organization which was founded in India by none other than a fellow Tamilian, Girish Mathrubhumam, founded this organization around 10 years back, figuring out I can solve this problem from day one, right? So connecting people, instead of giving them as a product, when I say product and service, those are two different things. When I say product is something like your mobile phones, or when you talk about software, product is something like your Windows operating system, or even Windows Office, right? Those are all products. Gmail is a product. But if you think, Facebook is a service, Freshworks is a service. So essentially, these are services which essentially brings in a service to the consumer, which essentially they can utilize that to the next level, right? So the freshest example I can think about was Freshworks when it comes to service innovation. Business model innovation is where you might have learned during your studies about waterfall model, right? The As well as most probably agile model of programming or project management, right? So those has evolved. Waterfall model was the previous model which every other organization used to actually follow, but today everyone is into agile practice, agile model of working, as well as there are many variations of the same model trying to be applied on different project structures. So there are Kanban, there are extreme programming, there are different ways of approaching a problem statement, like domain-driven design and other things, right? So essentially, what I'm saying is innovation is not limited by a huge product, as you can imagine, right? So essentially, it can happen in any place, anywhere. Just it applies innovative thinking, wherein you have limited set of constraints, and you want to work with it to elevate the problem which you are facing today. So coming into that specifically, to redefine again what is innovation. Innovation is a process by which you can actually bring in changes to the consumers, right? As simple as that. Maybe you can save 10 rupee for a particular customer by bringing in a battery or bigger battery on your phone, or so just improve the performance of that particular phone to be not charging for next 2 or 3 days, right? That actually changes a customer's life, because he may not be having an option to charge on a daily basis, right? In a similar fashion, there are many innovations which are happening. These are actually the types of innovation which McKinsey or Harvard, which actually says these are the types of innovation. But we Indians have one more type. That I would like to introduce it as Jugaad. Um, Hope you guys have heard about this word, Jugaad. It's a Indian way of innovation, a frugal innovation, right? As I was saying, the reasons for innovation can be varied, but in the end, if we have made a difference into the end user, that's what is innovation is. Jugaad is often celebrated as an example of Indian spirit of resourcefulness and enterprise, right? Jugaad has come as the Indian way of innovation that management gurus nowadays advise to the West. West being US and the Europe areas where a lot of innovations are there. But this has become as a formula for um, people to actually be street smart, right? It's a form of law breaking or change the rules kind of thing, right? And being street smart and in the face of our poverty and government incompetence and other things, Indians figured out ways where we can actually overcome our limitations, trying to use our limited resources to do what is more than asked for, right? I will like to take a small example. Let me bring one up. So you guys know the story of Tata Nano, right? So Tata Nano is a jugaad, to be frank. It was, yes, it is an innovation, but innovation in Indian ways. When Tata was tasked, Ratan Tata was tasked with, had an idea of bringing a 1 lakh rupee car. It actually made a lot of difficulties, in the sense that was a time when you can't, a minimum affordable car was around triple the price, right? Around 3 lakhs was Maruti 800 that time. And when, if Tata was tasked with the idea of actually bringing in a car for 1 lakh rupees, which was way being frugal, right? So essentially brought in a car fully functional with AC, everything for around 1 lakh, sum of 1 lakh, around 1 lakh, right? 1 lakh 20,000 or so, which itself is a jugaad, right? And there are many other examples which I want to bring up. This is a jugaad, right? You have a motorcycle, and you might have seen that happening in your town, right? Not necessarily anywhere else. Towns, even anywhere in India, if you go, you will find these kind of vehicles used in farming or anywhere. So essentially, what I'm trying to say is, innovation is not something which actually is limited by technical innovation. It need not be so big that it has to make headlines. No, need not. Innovation is something which can change the end user's life for better, right? As simple as that. Anything, if you start appreciating it, you can see innovation in each and every day, each and every hour in your life, right? So there are many of these examples. If you just search for Jugaad, you will see a lot of street smart, innovative examples, right? But that I will come back to the slide again. So that is Jugaad, right? So it is becoming a go-to theory for even for the Westerners. And another example I would say about Jugaad was about our own Mars reconnaissance MOM rather, right? So Mars orbiter, which we as Indians, as ISRO has sent around to Mars around 3 or 4 years back, right? That was a time when India was struggling to figure out how to send an interplanetary mission to Mars with the limited resources they had with a PSLV or a GSLV, which is struggling to actually put a satellite in orbit around the geostationary part, right? So how did Indians send actually a totally a new spacecraft to Mars? Indians figured out that there could be other ways of doing it, right? So essentially, those are all jugards. These are not written. That doesn't comes under any of the broadly classified structures which each of these organizations talks about. I mean, these bigger um, study centers like McKinsey or Harvard actually talks about. Those are all jugards, and we should be proud of being Jugaad and to actually be in the forefront of Jugaad's, because the Indians are famous for it, and proudly so. So I will come into factor. What are the key factors one should look around for being innovative, right? So there are many things when you say about being innovative. The factors involved being the aspiration, right? Anything which you do or which you are thinking about, it should be aspiring for you, for the people you are listening, people who are listening to you, right? So essentially, say for example, you must have seen about Americans going to moon, right? When John F. Kennedy said going to the moon in this decade, right? And it is not because it is easy, but it is because it's hard and it's there, right? So essentially, it motivated the entire nation of United States to do something which is unprecedented in 1960s, and still you can imagine no other country has ever done it still, right? People are still figuring out things what to do to go back to the moon. So you can think around 50 years ago, 50 to 60 years ago, uh, I could say 60 years ago, yeah, going to be 60 years next year. So 60 years ago, putting together a spacecraft, not one, 18 odd spacecrafts to go to the moon and come back along with humans. That is something aspiring. What I'm trying to say is it needs to aspire others, because any innovation, any big or small, has to be used by somebody else, or at least you, right? So it has to make sure, you have to make sure that vision can be compelling enough for others to choose that product or that service or that particular model, right? So it has to be aspiring. Choose there, you can imagine from a choose perspective, there would be n number of ideas which you will have today in your mind, from which you don't know which one to actually choose from, right? So innovation as in inherently is risky in nature. So to be sure, getting the most from a portfolio of innovations. When I say portfolio of innovations, are things which you want to do as an innovative thinker. You may have around 5, 6 ideas in your mind. Hey, if I do it this way, that would be great, right? I mean, there would be 5 or 6 ideas which you will have, but essentially that again boils down. But you can't actually put every inch of every moment of your energy into each one of it, right? But so you have to choose. So invest wisely, invest your time very wisely so that you can make that difference. Discover, right? Discover is one thing which we can add it as an iterative process. And you guys might have heard about prototyping, right? You build a product which actually suffices your initial thought process, and you actually evolve that product as developing it, testing it, validating it, and refining that innovation, right? So be ready for discovering that. right? Be ready for learning, breaking it, and redoing it. So don't lose hope. Evolve. So each and every time you make a business model or innovative, have an innovative idea, it it is, think about this, it is not the last thing you will do, right? That idea should evolve, should actually go to the next level. Until and unless you actually are not able to evolve or factor in new factors, uh, you will fail for definitely, right? For example, if I take an example of our very own Internet Explorer, right? in in late 2010s until 2010 or 2007, 2008 time, the only browser which the entire world used was Internet Explorer. Yes, there was Netscape, there was some Mozilla, or some other browsers, but they were just minuscule in before of Internet Explorer. Microsoft suddenly decided, hey, we have won the web. There won't be any more Internet Explorer. It would be Internet Explorer 6, and that would be it, right? Everyone will be able to use internet as needed. Nothing to be and nothing to worry about. We are the market leaders. And then you know what happened, right? Google Chrome came in. It started pitching in. It evolved much better. It was ready to make and break things, right? People started shifting to Google. People was only using Internet Explorer for downloading Google Chrome, right? So that was the time. Now you know what Microsoft has gone through over the last 3-4 years under Satya Nadella, right? So essentially things have changed a lot. Now if you see, if the latest browser from Microsoft, that is Edge, is using the Chrome engine essentially. Why? Because they were stubborn, they were not ready to evolve, they were ready to, they were ready to actually say that we are done, we have won the war, right? Never stop evolving. Your idea, whichever idea which you have, should evolve. Until and unless it doesn't evolve, you will not be able to actually productify the particular project, right, which you are working on. There are many other examples which we can take of evolving. Most probably you know about Nokia. Today, Nokia is not the original manufacturer. It is a company called HMD, which is a Chinese company which owns the brand Nokia. But if you go 10 years back, or maybe not 10, 20 years back, that was the mobile everyone wanted to have, right? So why did that happen? Because they said that they are the market leaders and nobody can beat them, right? So they stopped evolving, they failed. That's what happens. Accelerate. Do you beat the competition by developing, launching innovation quickly or effectively? Same as Chrome, right? So Chrome, if you see, do you know what is the version of Chrome today? No, right? It should be around in the 80s today. Why? It has only launched around 10 years back, 10 or 11 years back. Why did it became so successful? Because they were ready to release so fast, so early, and they were beating the competition left and right. As I said, Internet Explorer was just used to download Chrome. That was the use of Internet Explorer in the late 2011, or until maybe till date. Uh, and another thing, scale. Once you launch an innovative product, the right scale is absolutely required to maintain the market leadership, right? So essentially, you have an idea, an innovative idea which you want to launch, you launched it. But what happens if you are not able to serve the customers who wanted this product, right? So essentially, what will happen? The other parties who actually saw your product will start mimicking it, right? And bring in a lot more volume than you, essentially causing you to fail, right? extent do you wish to create? Capitalizing the external networks is the key thing. Say, for example, today, if you see, I will take an example of Microsoft, which you all know, right? Today, Microsoft is as big as any open source community today, because they have, apart from their operating system and Office, probably every other thing they have open sourced. So what they were doing was, they knew that they can't be a closed society. They, if they want to win the hearts, win the developers, they need to open up their network, right? And the only way they could do that is to open up their source codes and become an open community, right? So that's how you innovate. You don't limit your network uh, to your employees or your people only, right? You try to join with the community and extend that particular network so that you can actually make a difference, right? And the last thing, mobilize. So you need, think about this. You have an innovative idea. Say you are working with a team. You have an innovative idea and there are no takers for that particular idea. That won't help, right? You need people to work on your idea so that you can be rewarded. I mean, you, in the sense, the team can be rewarded, right? So mobilizing that people who are motivated as well as rewarded and organized to innovate repeatedly, making and breaking it, is absolutely required. So these, I believe, are the key factors of being an innovative, having an innovative idea. So that's one. I will jump into the next one, that is the common failures. So common failure reasons, as I can say, say for example, misaligned initiatives, incentives, or lack of preparation, misunderstanding your market, bureaucracy. Uh, Say for example, as I was saying earlier, I everyone remembers BlackBerry phone, right? It was the most innovative mobile device on the market until the standard smartphones came in, right? For example, Android from HTC or Samsung, or from iPhone, right? So they, BlackBerry used to rule the enterprise market. What happened to it? People got used to typing on flat screens. Smartphones quickly evolved to digital cameras as much as a voice or a communication device, right? It became mini more. Today, you have a phone, you don't need you don't need a watch for it, right? So it was misplaced incentives which was happening there. BlackBerry lost his innovative leadership position. Today, a couple of years ago, I heard BlackBerry is going to make an Android phone um, for the enterprise community, but nothing happened, right? Because they launched the product. They had a couple of products in their name based on Android, but they lost the market position. As the business grow, it is important for leaders to think career advancements to ongoing innovation activities, create initiatives that encourage the employees to continue to think outside the box. Thinking outside the box is all about innovation, right? So, and also you need to create a culture for innovation is essential as you want to change the business, which can create that momentum for the product development and other things, right? One key thing, each one of us have a wonderful idea in your mind, right? But understand this, each of us being as an innovator uh, has something called innovator's bias, okay, which is nothing but prematurely falling in love with your solution. When I say love with your solution, is that, say you have an idea in your mind which you want to build it as a product, launch as an app. But the problem is, have you ever thought about, that is your problem statement which you have in hand, but how about the market? How about the people you are intending for that to be used for, right? So what is that innovative idea or a solution for? Is it really a problem that needs solution? You should think about it, right? And is the market data, you should look around the market data to figure out whether the answers the previous questions which we just asked, right? Like, what is the innovative idea is the solution for, right? What is the problem which you're trying to solve? Or even better, is that really a problem that needs a solution for, right? Not every problem needs a solution, to be frank, right? It is something which the community may not be ready for today. For example, uh, if you take an example of Windows Mobile, right? Windows Mobile, I think you guys knows about Windows 8 mobile phones. No, even before that, Windows XP operating system was running on mobile, even much before um, Androids or iOS devices was on the market, right? And those are all touch devices, but and it was quite a chunk of the market which it was holding. The only competitor against the BlackBerry, sorry, Windows Mobile was Dell's Palm OS or even BlackBerry for to a certain extent, right? BlackBerry was not a touch phone. So essentially, even the market was not ready to have such a device, such a pricey device, um, for that to happen, right? So essentially, you should understand the market which you're trying to sell your idea for, and make sure that it actually reflects on the thing which you are working on, right? So choose that. Entrepreneurships, bureaucracy, right? Once you're in a bigger organizations, there are many things which comes into picture, right? Say for example, like you have to take approvals from the upper management, you have a middle layer manager, your reporting manager, your engagement manager, many things come across. So always find reasons to actually overcome that and follow your dream. Always make sure that you actually are prepared, you understand the market you are selling for, and you make sure that your team is motivated enough to overcome those hurdles. Right? So those are quick things which I can think about when you talk about common failure reasons. Before I proceed, before I get into this slide, I would like to take a break and ask about your ideas. I mean, your questions, anything which you want to ask today. Now, for that matter, I would like to open up the uh, forum for that. Any questions which you guys have? Okay, I'll proceed. So essentially, I would like to say this is a key thought process in any innovative organization or being in innovative space. Fail early, fail often, right? But the point is, learn from your mistakes, right? So the screen which I mean the image which I am sharing out here explain it very well, right? A person or a person is actually trying to do a skating from the a ramp, right? You don't want to jump it from 100 feet high, right? You obviously should try it from a 10 feet or a 5 feet, and then you jump from a bigger heights, right? So same, I believe the explanation instead of skate, this is a US example, most probably. I think I can take an example of you riding bicycle or learning to learn a bicycle. You always start with small steps, right? You don't jump into a racing cycle or a mountain cycle to start with, right? Always start with a smaller one which has 2 wheels or 3 wheels, and then you must remove one wheel, and then you start balancing and other things, right? So fail early, fail you if you have an idea, uh, try out that idea, right? I'm not saying that your idea is not worth it, right? So you should think in such a way that this quote, the real aim of fail fast or fail often, is not to fail, but to be iterative in nature. When I say iterative, you try again, right? For example, you might have heard about Thomas Alva Edison, right? Who actually tried 9,000 different ways of not how to make a bulb, right? Uh, so it takes time, it takes iterative measures to actually figure out what works and what doesn't work, right? So be ready to fail. Failing is not a bad thing. You just figure out one way it won't work, right? So, for example, SpaceX. You guys might have heard about SpaceX, right? So they are leave SpaceX. I think we can take an example of our own ISRO or ISRO, right? It has been very much an innovator of leaps and bounds, for example, right? When the whole world actually shut the doors to India during our 1999 or uh, 1998, when we did the nuclear blast, the whole world actually shut their doors to India. Our scientists worked together very hard to bring in delivery of success to these institutions like ISRO and others, right? Why? When they were not allowed to read scientific papers, they are not allowed or banned from getting into any organizations which actually deals with any of the sensitive technologies. They innovated together to bring in such a big leap in those areas which they were focused on, right? For example, India is just the third country or the fourth country to be on Mars. um, Many of the first five countries in many of the leagues India is there today, right? With lot, you can imagine lot of restrictions in technologies, in engineering practices being applied on India. Why? Because we were ready to learn and ready to fail and fix that and do it again, right? We never lost faith in that, and we shouldn't lose faith in that. And that has been our um, our best skill, I would say, as Indians. So that's the thought on fail early, fail often. I would like to introduce to you how you can actually validate your ideas, right? So when an innovation process, if you have an idea, I would like to introduce lean canvas model, which we use in our IT industry to actually to identify and understand what we can do and how we can do it better, right? To I will also give an example which I will go in the next slide of one of the example which you all know about. But this is a framework which you can definitely use to validate your idea, whether how you can actually bring in difference, how and what all things you should actually think about while being bringing an innovative idea to a product level or a service level or a business model level, right? So essentially, this is one chart, one single page. You guys can download this. I will also share this PPT, this particular slide, essentially, with you all. I think I can pass it to any of your uh, professors, and probably they can pass it on to you. This actually covers 9 critical things which any product idea or a service idea or a business model idea should think about, right? Anything you don't want to build a product which will not be used by anyone else other than you, right? So you should be, so let me go one by one. The first one is the customer segments, right? So what are the segments of customers you are targeting, right? You should think what are the who would you suggest would be the early adopters, the people who are ready to actually adopt those ideas and get it to the next level, right? I mean, get that product moving, right? That would be the first one which you should think about. And obviously, what is the problems your customers are facing, right? So essentially, you should list those top 3 problems which the customer of your idea or your product will be solving with, right? So essentially you should understand that. And then you should come into the revenue streams. No product is ready or should be in a market without a revenue stream, right? Not even any product you buy, you have to buy it with a price, right? No one actually give it for free today. If you are offered it for free, you definitely should understand there is some other revenue stream they are making with customers like you, right? For example, I can take Google. Google actually provides you a service for free, but it also takes your data. It also knows who you are, where you are from, what are you doing, what are you searching. They can sell products based on that. Today, if you visited any of the Amazon or any other website and just come back and visit any news website, for example, you will start seeing advertisements saying that, do you want this product, product A, product B, do you want this kind of things and sort of things, right? So how do they do it? They are providing, you would think that they are providing the news for free or products for free, right? But or Facebook, for example, Facebook actually sells your data to customers to figure out what can it sell to you, right? So always there you should figure out the revenue streams for your product for sure, right? And fourth is nothing but the solution. What is the solution you have in your mind for the problem statement which you have? Then you have what is your unique value proposition, right? One single thing which no other will provide you. No other current product will provide that particular value, right? Something which you have in your mind, right? So you should list that down. That should be your elevator pitch, or one thing which you can sell to any other customer, right? No one can do this, only I can do that, right? Something which of that sort. Key matrices. No business uh, is good enough until and unless you have something to sell it for, right? You need to identify those key matrices, which are basically numbers, right? Say for example, I for a for example, you as a, if you are a YouTube publisher or a TikTok or a Instagram Reels uh, person, right? So what is your key matrices? You will have n number of subscribers by end of the year 2022. You will have so much of likes. You will have those or so much of shares. You will have at least 5 million share videos and sort of thing, right? So those are your key matrices. Those are the targets which you keep it for yourself, right? For your product. So you need to figure out. And you should also, not only that, you should also figure out the cost structure. Cost structure is nothing but essentially figuring out what is the exact value which you would spend on the product, and what are the different things which are fixed in cost. Say for example, you want a working space, right? That's a fixed cost. You will have to pay rent for the office space for an year, right? So that's a fixed cost. Variable cost, there are many things, perishable items which you buy, or things of that sort which are variable in nature, right? So those are variable costs. You should actually figure these things out. And you should also, the last but not the least, something which cannot be copied by anyone, right? That is your unfair advantage. Obviously, please do remember, these unfair advantages is there with you for maybe 1 year, at the max 1.5 year, right? The next year somebody else will copy. Take an example of iPhone and any other copy phones, right? So Apple brings in something very unique to itself as an unfair product line, but very next year it's gone. Someone else has already copied it. They have similar or much better product to offer, right? So you have to figure out the unfair advantage which you have with your idea. So I think this would be my last slide. So this is an example of Uber. Uber, you already know, it's a private taxi app where you can book your taxi from where you are, right? So this is a simple set of thought process around the same set of idea, which how will you actually approach that kind of particular idea with a lean canvas, right? So maybe you can just let me walk you through. I won't keep much time out on this. I will just wind it up in another 5 minutes. uh, what are the customers? So let's start with customer segments. What are the customer segments which you will actually sell it? The passengers, the drivers, right? Passengers who today, instead of Uber, I can take Ola Auto, right? Many as a passengers we have used auto rickshaws, but all of us actually struggled in getting an auto rickshaw. We always fight with auto rickshaw about the pricing, and what if these guys will ask 10 rupees extra or 20 rupees extra, or even cost 2 times extra if you are in Bangalore or any other place. So those are passengers. Those have a real trouble. I have a real trouble with dealing with auto rickshaws, right? Drivers are not finding enough rides. For example, a cab driver is not able to find enough drives because he has to depend on his manager to figure out a ride for him, right? So those are the customer segments. Who are the early adopters, right? No one but people who are using public transport or a classic taxi service, who has to depend on people calling up them, or they have to spend a tremendous amount of money in advertisement, in paper advertisements, that I have offer a taxi service and this is the value to it and other things, right? So essentially that. So you have to think, what is your problem statement, right? The statements involve expensive taxi service, availability of car, right? A lack of profile, driver profile. You don't know which driver you are going to drive with. Today, in your Ola or an Uber app, you know what is the rating of that particular driver. Know who will drive you, who you drive. So essentially, from a driver's perspective, this is color coded. So you see the yellow ones are marked for drivers, what driver think their problem statements are, and blue ones are for the passengers, right? So, so you can read through and you can understand. Say, for example, what are the existing alternatives? Existing alternatives are public transport or taxi service. What are the key matrices which you look into, right? Number of users by the end of the year. How many users actually use the Uber service or so, right? How many rides as a driver did you do, right? What is the income which you generated, right? The solution which I would offer would be cheaper rides. Uber and Ola provides cheaper rides, much cheaper rides than any of the taxi providers, or wide car network, or passenger ratings, so that you know whom you are driving with, and ability for driver to rate the passenger as well as the passenger to rate the driver, right? Flexible work schedule for the drivers. You need not be available only during the spirit, no, right? You can be available at any point and you can still earn money, right? What is the unique value proposition which Uber provides? All services in one app, right? You have a safe ride 24 bar 7. So essentially, having that is a game changer in any big cities. Working on your own schedule, navigation, as well as route to the customer using the app. That's from a driver perspective, right? So the cost structure, what are the cost structures which as a Uber as an organization will need to spend on? Product development, that is the app, marketing expenses, advertisements, making sure you reach out to the drivers and other things, and the salaries, obviously the salaries which has to be paid out for your permanent employees, right? What is your revenue stream be, right? So essentially what Uber figured out was 25% of each ride which any user takes goes to the Uber, right? So those are, unless you figure out the revenue stream, there is no way how you can be I won't say successful, but how you can be efficient and uh, fruitful, right? So you should figure that out. So this is a lean canvas example of Uber. You can apply the same thought, same slide. You can take a printout of the lean canvas, which I will share with your professors, and they can provide you. You can just take a printout of it and start writing into it. Right, as simple as that. So this will bring in a lot of clarity for you and lot of value to pitch your innovative idea to any potential customers, right? As well as innovate upon, and you can also figure out how much it would cost, how much the revenue stream value it will bring in, and how much, so that you can plan for your success, right? References. These are the references I have. These are all links actually. Lean Stack is an organization which actually professes about the lean canvas which you saw above. Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish is a speech by Steve Jobs on innovation on a particular college graduation day. You should watch it if you have not seen. And a McKinsey document around the 8 essentials of innovation. Um, this is my last slide. I would like to open up for any questions which you would like to ask or discuss. Anything, you can reach out to me at my official email ID as well as my Twitter handle. Um, any questions, anything which you uh, if you want to ask, I'm open. Anyone? Um, Yeah, if you don't want to speak up, you can post your question in chat also. Can definitely answer. Okay, why not? I will post a different question. Can anyone share one innovative idea which you have in your mind? Probably we can fill up the lean canvas. Okay, I think I would like to drop in if no other questions is there. Please feel to reach out if you have any questions or need any guidance. I will definitely be able to help you out.
So thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks, sir.
Amilakshmi. And thank
Thank
you
you, sir.
for.
Thank you for your valuable speech to our budding innovators. It would enlighten a sparkle inside them in the future endeavor. You had inculcated many ideas in them for making new innovations. We request your presence in many of our future programs. Once
Sure.
again, I thank you, sir. I thank all the
Thank you.
participants.
No, I was saying that thank you all for listening, at least being there. I
Yes,
would have very much enjoyed if it would have been interactive.
of course, sir.
I think
Soon it will be an
I should
interactive
change
session in
my
the future, sir.
presentation, but yeah. Thanks for listening.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I
Thank
hope
you.
students you all gain good insight from the session. Students, I have posted the feedback link in the chat box. Do fill that and receive your e-certificates. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you
Rajashri
so
ma'am.
much, sir.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Students, kindly fill the feedback form. Once you fill the feedback form, you'll receive your e-certificates. See, you can leave the session once you fill the feedback form. Pa.